Hello everybody and welcome to our first ever Talking Con. And we're not just talking any con, we're talking Alamo City Comic Con. And joining me today on the panelists will be from the Nerd 411, Jason Davis. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you.
And also from the Podcast Cowboy, Clay Duggar, the man in the cowboy hat. How you doing? Now, let's talk about our special guest here. We have none other than Apple De La Fuente, the promoter for Alamo City Comic Con. And joining him is Fred Hernandez and Izzy Tang. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. Let's start this off real quick here. Were you surprised by the overwhelming turnout for this con? I mean, did you really expect it to be as big as it got?
Yes. No. No. We knew that we were going to have a big crowd. We knew that we were going to get into the pop culture crowd. We knew that San Antonio has a large base of collectors, whether it be from toys through comics. That's been going on for years. I've been in that community almost since the beginning of when it started, right around the late 80s. So that community that has been going around, I knew it was here, and I seen the growth at little shows when you're doing like 2,000 people coming through the door, 1,000 people coming through the door. So I knew that was already here. It was just waking up that crowd and waking up that monster. So, but the crowd reaction that we got from San Antonio was amazing. So I was very, very happy to showcase my city in that light. So,
Jason?
This is your first year doing it, and you've seen the overwhelming success of the show and the amount of the crowds, the vendors. From your next con going forward, are you going to have any type of company policy to where you're not going to oversell the con? So I know San Diego has something, and other cons have something, like New York Comic Con has something in place, a company policy that, okay, we're going to do this to make sure that we're not going to get shut down by the fire marshal or something. Do you have something you're going to put in place, or have something in place that you're not going to oversell, where a lot of people are going to be turned away at the con?
well, here's the thing. That's when you start getting into a little bit of the city politics that are in place. Those two cities that you mentioned, those cons, the cities that are already being held there, with the cons that are being held there, they know the impact of those cons. So I won't say that the fire marshals there are not doing their job. It's just that it's a big event for the cities. It's a big draw for the cities. And if you go to any other city, you know that tourists are the main thing that come into a city. That's what cities live on. That's why you'll see commercials, come to visit New York, come visit California, because those cons bring in those kind of traffic. San Antonio is very new to this. This was very new to them. They're very excited, but they don't know how to react to it, because it's still a shell shock to them. That where you have leaders that were in place that were not, they're not used to change, and they're used to, hey, we're used to this show, and we're used to this show where it's only 5,000, 6,000. That's great. That's amazing. That's a big show to them. But when you had what we had on Saturday, 45,000 people, they don't understand that. That's larger than a San Antonio Spurs game. So and that's almost reaching NFL game. So they quite don't understand, like, okay, wait a minute, this show did this about comics and pulp culture. It's new to them. Yeah. So the selling of tickets, well, this year we only anticipated 20,000. So we fit in a little bit over 30,000, and that's by us going back and trying to help out those 10,000 more that wanted to come in. Plus, we had another 15 that were still waiting outside. Yeah. So that's something that this year I've been working closely with the city for them to understand what is coming. Now, the convention center is going through a change, is going through a little bit of a facelift. So we also have to coordinate around that schedule also. So that's why Alamo City will not be held in October this year, but rather late September, from September 26th to the 28th. So it's a little bit of that going on. So those cities, it's a little bit of thing, but you get into playing of the politics with the city.
So do you think future conventions where you have to do, like San Diego does, the whole lottery system, or you have to have a ticket, or you went previous year to buy a ticket for next year?
we're heading in that direction. And it's sad to say that, we knew that this year San Antonio was a general admission city. Any promoter that has come through San Antonio and why you see not a lot of shows through here is because a lot of it is general admission. And I know San Antonio is general admission, and that's the way we are here. But we're going to break that habit that you actually have to get your tickets in advance if you want to attend this kind of show. And it's just the way it is, like how you said with New York and San Diego. That's just the way it is.
Clay?
Well, you answered my first two questions already. So.
All right, this is going to be quick. Thanks, guys. See you. That's a wrap.
Well, you answered the first one and about half answered the second one, so I'll answer that one anyway.
Okay.
Do you think, because it's on that same line, do you think the occupancy capacity of Hall A, where you had it this year, should be changed either up or down? Because when they closed it, it was just like this.
Right.
My thinking is lessen the capacity, but then that lessens your people in the door. Do you think that number should be changed?
Well, this year, the great thing is that we have more room now. And they understand why I needed that room. Before, it was more of you're throwing a comic book show and you're going to expect to have how many? So that was a great shock to the city, and in a good way. But it shook the ones that are not used to change. So they're just right now trying to understand that. And what we do this year is have more space. A lot more vendors who wanted to come in this year, because we had a lot more vendors and exhibitors that wanted to come in but weren't able to come into the show. So we are going to allow those to come in this year, but we still don't have all the room we wanted now because of construction. So there may be some vendors and exhibitors that might not even get into Alamo City this year. So in a way, it doesn't really directly answer the question, but what we do is it's going to be exactly where we're going to take over not only Hall A, Hall B, all the ballrooms, and most of the meeting rooms that they have. So
Get the Lila Cockrell for your
Lila Cockrell, all the celebrities love the Lila. So yeah, we'll always have that'll be a staple for us. So.
Now, you guys had a huge advertising and sponsorship push. Now, how did you manage that, and were you able to gauge how successful that was for you guys? Did it work?
Well, I know right off the back, we met with Santikos. Santikos was our first sponsor that jumped on. Santikos, Dan over at Santikos loved the idea. He made sense of all the movies that were coming out in the summer with Superman and was it X-Men, Wolverine, Iron Man, and they love the idea. So when someone big like Santikos comes on board, it's like, okay, so it opens up eyes to everybody else. Granted, it was harder to reach out to certain people, like Apple said. It's comic books. Some people are like, okay, and we can all admit, I mean, us dorks read comic books. People were like, okay, is that going to sell to the city? Do I want to jump on that? First year event, everybody was nervous about it. People started seeing, okay, well, you guys are getting The Walking Dead. Walking Dead's off a comic book. Some people don't know that. The regular fan doesn't know that, but they see, oh man, Walking Dead. You guys are getting Danny Trejo now. You're getting a movie star. Little by little, we had to sell it. We'll never forget the comic book side of it. Sponsors sometimes, to be honest, they don't know about that side, but they see, oh wow, you guys are bringing celebrities to San Antonio. We'll admit, San Antonio with the exception of Spurs games and what would you say, a couple like the People events, those are the ones that bring celebs in. And next thing you know, we love Kiss, 99.5 Kiss. They jumped on board and they were like, this is right up our alley. So Kiss was a huge sponsor. And then we had to do Bud Light.
We did Bud Light. And that was the first time any alcohol has ever been offered in a con.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that.
Yeah. Well, and like I always tell everyone, if you're not from the state of Texas, that's a Texas thing.
Yeah. So. Exactly. And Bud Light, they jumped on board. And Apple's really good friends with all the comic book stores. Heroes and Fantasies, they were a huge role.
Alien World.
You name it. We had a credit union jump on, and little by little, everybody just started seeing like, wow, this is really turning into. Hear our sponsors say, wow, we did not expect that. Like, this is awesome, and we'd love to be back next year. And having other sponsors already
Right.
We would love to be a part of Alamo City. And the advertisement wise with KISS, it was great. They loved us. They did everything about it with having people from Fox, from KISS. They wanted to be a part of our panels. I mean, it's just, it worked out perfectly with the advertisement wise and the sponsorships. It just made sense. We got the radio station that fits Alamo City. We got the movie theaters that fit Alamo City. And it's just, everything from there took off.
And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that whoever we went to get, they had to match what we did. Because as you guys know, in this world, there's certain things that we just do. You know, we're not a convention of doctors or dentists. You know what I mean? We care about what happened in, you know, issue 150 of Superman, and we care about Beavis and Butthead. And, you know what I mean? And, you know, we know and recognize Charles Schwartz for Peanuts, you know what I mean? And, you know, the Muppets. That's what pop culture is, you know? So those things you have to remember whenever you're doing stuff like this. So we have to remember as we go forward, let the sponsors know this is who we are. This is what we're about. And, you know, a lot of sponsors just didn't quite get it that we were talking to, but the sponsors that did, they were floored by it. And they're like so excited. They're holding meetings right now. It's a great time to see this grow for San Antonio. So,
Jason?
As comic conventions becoming more mainstream today versus years ago, where it's like, oh, you're doing a little convention thing, that's nice. But now it's become more streamed. A lot of the conventions, from all the way to San Diego to the, you know, some of the local ones, how are you doing, or how are you doing the price structure as being competitive with the other ones? Because a lot of people may not have a lot of money. It's like, you know, just in Texas alone, I counted almost 20 different conventions. How are you trying to cater to the fans to be competitive, where, you know, maybe a family or even one or two people are trying to, you know, want to come?
Well, I'll go ahead and use this as a comparison so that way everyone understands. Remember the early 90s when they did a foil cover? And that thing kicked off, and everybody's like, oh man, we're going to print 1 million books with this foil cover, and we're going to make money. And every company started doing that. And then after about a year, people started getting tired. They were like, we don't like these gimmicks, you know? And then the comic book industry went flat. So when Spawn, which was the #1 book at one time, went from 3 million copies all the way to maybe 20,000 copies, it opens your eyes. So you ask yourself, like, okay, well, what happened? What are those experiences? So like how you said, there are 20 some cons just alone in Texas. So what separates us from following that pattern? Well, you know what? We're not going to just do foil covers. We stay true to the material. That's who we are. So if we get into the game of saying, oh, I'm going to do this better, and I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to charge this price, then you start to lose what the essence of what comics was. And then you start to be controlled by money. And that's what Alamo City, and that's what I will never allow. This is not about money. This is about the love of the industry. So when you talk about families coming, that's what I want. So there are cons charging $50 just to get in for one day, which, you know, it's the facilities, I understand. Charging the vendors, the exhibitors another price, that's what I don't understand, you know? So I understand when you want to make money, then okay. But you start to make money in other areas, then that's not cool, you know? Because then you're just becoming a foil cover of the early 90s. So what with Alamo City is, I promoted Family Day on Sundays. And, you know, our pricing on Saturday was what, $30 to $35. Okay, this year will be $40. Okay, there's just certain costs as you grow, you go. My goal is to never try to go above $50. You know, because then families are not going to be able to come.
Yeah, it makes it hard because I know other conventions. I won't name names, but it's like I can't really spend $85 or $70 for a day ticket.
And that's what we try to keep it as. Is when we first worked together, we we always talked about making it affordable because
Right.
we're from the city
San
and
Antonio's
we
a
know
different market.
if San Antonio is a different market, we're gonna go out there and we know we're not LA, we're not Chicago, we're not Philadelphia. We know the city. The big part, a little off subject, but the big part of people liking us is because we're from here. We didn't come from, the number 1 and 2 market and
Right.
throw a show here. We're from here, so we know the pricing. We know what people can afford, and we understand that. We understand, yes, as we go bigger, it's understandable. People's got bills to pay. We got, we got
We're not
we got a
corporations,
Yeah.
we got a convention to pay, and
public trade.
Yeah.
or-
and
Because no one's helping us. Sponsors didn't pay out a lot this past year. You know what I mean? So I mean, because we only had a few sponsors. You know what I mean? And what we got was what was great. So for the show this year, we're not gonna go out there and try to poke out your eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not cool. Then you missed the show. And now
mean,
you're
we
all of a
even-
sudden, yeah. So
we even gave a discount on
Right.
tickets through. I mean, we had a set price when we
Yep.
started, and when KISS came on board, we're like, we can do a promo code, and we gave military discounts. And I mean, with this knowing this is a huge military
Right.
city, and young guys, coming out of basic training, and great thing for them to do, and we support our troops.
right, we were the only
Yes.
con. We were the
Events
only
were-
con to ever go above 100 tickets. We did 500 tickets to our military versus vet tickets and Wounded Warriors and other organizations, and that was around town. So 500 tickets just to our military alone.
Yeah.
That has been never done by a con. So it just shows that why we're different and what we're willing to do for our city.
And being prior military, I greatly appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, we have we're working. One of our staff is working with the military coming up for this year, and that's something we plan to work with because, I mean, we are trying to work with the Wounded Warriors and with the guys that come back, and I think I'm a military brat, so I know how it is. I mean, my father served 22 years, so something small like that is giving back to the military. I mean, that makes perfect sense for us, and the promo codes that we gave for just the normal fans. I mean, that's awesome.
Right.
Some other people they don't do that, and it's one set price, and
Right.
we understand. I mean, it's hard to, I mean, like a Spurs game, we see when that comes around, and you see what you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And it's in all honesty, I mean, it's a set price with us. We try to keep everything affordable.
Right.
I mean, Izzy said comic book. I mean, I work for a local insurance banking company, and we support a lot of militaries and a lot of care packages that been sent out. They all want comic books, and that's really what kept them entertained. That's what kept them interested, and that's what kept them, so to speak, attached to the real world back home. So, and really for the military, that's that served us. That's the small price that we kind of give back.
Right.
Clay?
We've talked about other conventions. We've talked about San Diego, New York, and everything. This is kind of a cliche, but what about all these conflicts between the unintended conflicts between the cons, the local cons, San Antonio, Austin area,
Right.
and then the ones that are coming in. We have a foreigner coming in.
A foreigner,
next year.
yeah.
And there's talk of bad blood between the outsiders and the insiders, and then amongst the insiders. And again, no names, and I'm not a part of any of it, so I don't know. How do you handle all the dirty tricks that some people are pulling, and the stuff that gets said about and by and
Right.
for, and how do you deal with that? I know you still got the show has to go on.
Yeah.
But how do you get around some of the stuff that gets done and still have an honest show?
It keeps us focused.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We take the criticism constructively. We take the feedback. I mean, bottom line, we can't make everybody happy, but
Right.
we can make our show different, interesting, fresh.
Right.
So what you do, you try to change up your lineup. I mean, certain bigger cons that bring the same people to different places. Granted, 1 year, 2 year, but how many years can you go on? When the show ended, will you still take those people on the road with you? or will you switch them out? But that's what we try to do, is just keep things fresh to begin with.
We try not to. Me and Apple and the staff, we always say we have to worry about us.
Yeah.
That's it's just there's competitors. It's a
That's
competitive
what it
market.
is,
It's
you
a
know?
competitive market. We personally, we don't have bad blood.
Right.
Apple worries about his company and his staff and what we do here. There's going to be people that want to come and do their show.
Right.
If we sit here every day and look at their show, we're not doing our job.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you have to. You have to look at what your competitor does. It's, I mean, every business. I mean,
Yeah.
Pepsi and Coke, they look at each other every day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ford and GM.
we do that, and that's what we do. Is we focus. And Apple always tell us, we worry about us.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And to your point, you said bad blood internally. It's not bad blood. It's people, they get offensive or defensive about people coming to take your turf. But we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to make San Antonio known as a pop culture town.
Right.
In terms of foreigners, it's really not about them taking our food. It's really them overcharging the market.
Right.
We want people to be able to enjoy everything that the foreigners offers,
Right.
but at a way better price,
Right.
affordable price for this market.
And everybody's gonna know me as they know they'll call me the comic king of San Antonio. I love comics. That's what I love. And when shows come along, and like how you're saying, there's 20-some shows. How many of them are focused?
At least.
Yeah, here. How many of them are really focused on comics? When Alamo City came in, the first thing that you got through that door was the artists. Those guys built this industry. Those guys are the creators of this world. They should be recognized. On Sunday, before the show was going to close out, I told everyone to give them a round of applause, because without artists, without the creators, Comic-Con would not happen. So just paying them the respect that they deserve.
The foundation they built.
So when shows come along and they forget that and they start thinking about money, then you lose your way. And that's why when I talked about the foil covers, these companies got money hungry. They lost their way about their source material of who they are. Yeah. The other competitors, if you want to call them that, there's no bad blood. I never even respond to that stuff because that's not something I care about. I don't want my staff focusing on it. Because it's something they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Somebody's gonna do what you're gonna do. When you leave, I can't control you, but I can control what Alamo City does. And I'll tell you what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is bring you the best show that you ever see, and that's my word. So whatever I bring from creators, whether I bring from celebrities, I'm from San Antonio. I know what San Antonio loves. So that's what I'm gonna do. You can take me as my word. You cannot take me as my word. This year, I think we proved what we can do. Now that we have that awareness of who we are, what do you think I'm going to do next year? It's just going to be bigger. Now, is it going to be a lot funner? Yes, it is. People are going to have a blast at Alamo City Comic Con in 2014. And every year, it's not going to be the same. It's going to change up. Different things are going to come in, and it keeps it fresh for everybody, because you don't want to be, the last thing you want to do in this industry is be a one-trick pony. You know what I mean? Because if you start there's a character that I really love that a lot of people don't know, but I really love Daredevil. And for some reason, writers just can't grasp the character the way some writers have done, like Frank Miller. So all of a sudden now they feel that one-trick pony has to move out to California. I was like, you don't move Daredevil out to California. He was in Hell's Kitchen. You know what I mean? You stay true to the character and you create around it. That's the same thing about Alamo City. I'm not going to change locations just because I feel it needs a new start. We are not going to run out of ideas. Because a lot of people always say, you always have to, think outside the box. Well, my box is just bigger, So that's the thing about it. So we're gonna be who we are. You know what I mean? All the whatever shows, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. You know,
The time that we spend
That's-
more about other people, we focus about how to make our shows.
Right.
And in all honesty, before I met Apple, I'm actually fans of some of these conventions that I go to, and that's actually where I started. When him and I met and we sat down, I actually was on the way to a convention, you know, and before you know it, it's, you know, I'm talking to Danny Trejo's agent, and it's like, wow, this is how we start putting stuff together, and you know, we're fans. I mean, that's the thing, is we're fans of stuff, so we try not to have bad blood, because to us it doesn't make sense. I mean, that's when you get into the so-called suits of it. You know, I mean, we're not suits.
Yeah.
We're not white collar guys, and
Jeans and
you know,
You'll never
and,
see it like.
and that's the thing, is we don't want legal stuff, and we don't want that, and granted, there's competitors and with us, but we're fans of some of this stuff. I mean, we went to certain shows together as friends, as fans, you know, because out of supporting conventions. And I think that's kind of what some people get away from, is
And some of those conventions, when, you know, when those promoters, there was a little fear there, because I've come with a reputation, but no one's ever talked to me about it. They just knew what I did before. And I'm like, oh crap, here comes Apple. So there was a little bit of a misunderstanding in that area. But a lot of promoters from other shows were here for Alamo City, and they praised Alamo City. And I think they've understood through this time that of who I was, what I'm about. And they know I'm all about the comic book industry. Anything I can help to further it, that's what I'm going to do. So they understand now who Apple is. They understand who Alamo City is. And I think they understand that we have our own thing. We have our own hospitality. We're just different. You know, from the staff, takes care of everyone. It's just the way who we are. You know what I mean? There were some things that we couldn't control, and that sucked. You know, but we were a first-year show. It was our inaugural year. We took our bumps. We took our bruises. We learned from them. We corrected them. This year, that will not happen again. So it's about when you learn. Yeah.
For example, too, talk about being local, talk about being true to your city. When our guests came into town, only a selected few requested to stay at a mainstream hotel, but the rest of them stay at a boutique hotel, and they all loved it. It's not your fancy 5-star, it's not your doorbell man. I mean, they love just the environment, the atmosphere of it. The fact that you can hang out with, you know, partial public and not being harassed and not being.
And there was things that we did that we'll keep a secret. But it helped. It's Alamo City, man. So I think that's what a lot of artists leaving San Antonio was a different look at the city, and they really enjoyed it. They love San Antonio, and I'm glad to see all of them are gonna probably be back.
Yeah, they didn't take a con; they take the San Antonio with them.
Yeah.
So, okay, now tell us about the associated events you had leading up to Alamo City. You had club parties, and do you feel that really helped get the word out there?
That was fun. That's about having fun. You know, the thing was that I knew from a PR's perspective, you do have to get the word out, but there's things that inside geekers, nerds, that there's things that we like to do. Like, man, how many times would you have loved to have gone to say, you know what, let's just have a DC versus Marvel party. Let's just do it. And you know, if you did it, no one would come. You know? But now that we were on a bigger stage, you know what, let's do it. People will come. And they sure did. You know what I mean? So from the Marvel versus DC party to our prom party to casino night, superhero casino night, it was just different. It was just different. Something that I knew people probably thought of, or they would have been like, oh, you know what, that's a great idea. You know what I mean? I should have done that. So those type of things were fun. Those type of things we will do this year. And it's just something that I think becomes a staple about what Alamo City is. So, yeah, those were fun.
As a promoter and also as a fan, is there a particular person that you'd really excited about bringing this year that you wanted to bring that you couldn't bring, this past con?
I can't comment on that.
Contracts have not yet.
Contracts have not been signed.
Contracts are on the way.
We can say that.
NDAs were signed.
NDA.
We can say this. We can say that we are actually already sending contracts to people, and we are working on that, and you will hear something soon.
You're going to try to do, you're going to have different people. You're not going to, because I know some people continue to bring like one person.
We aren't a tour, so we understand. I mean, some people, artists, this guy's got artists' friends. That They want to come back, and artists love being here, and they want to come do that. Yeah, celebrity-wise, it's a little different because it can't be the dead horse.
Right.
You don't want to bring someone, no one in particular, but you don't want to bring that person back, bring them back, and then you burn them out. And,
right.
You know what I mean? But we already have.
But you're going to bring people that maybe not be mainstream, like, because a lot of people bring The Walking Dead, kind of what other cons are doing. Are you going to try to do something different?
Yeah. You actually have 3 or 4 maybe different packages.
I'll give you this with those VIP packages or something. But for the regular people like you're referring to, we will have a strong voice video game presence. So much like things that I wanted to do last year, this year we'll be able to do them. So that's away from what you call mainstream. Yeah, we will have some more guests.
So now being a fan, you get to actually, I've been a fan of this person. Now I can actually bring a particular wrestler or
we are even working on we can't say
that.
We're working on
that guy that you wanted. That guy.
Be a race to see who gets there first.
Right. All right. The money's under the table. Yeah. Clay?
Since we are media guys who like to interview people, are you planning on doing what a lot of other cons do and have a room where you bring a celebrity in and you set them down and then give all the media 3 minutes or 5 minutes and get up the next guy 3 minutes, 5 minutes?
That's where technically that's what I started. That's what I did out in San Diego. Mm-hmm. So technically, that's what I want to do here. I want to bring that feeling. Mm-hmm. There will have to be more participation from studios, from
the agents
TV.
have to allow their people to speak.
Yes, and the studio has to allow them to give that information.
If they're in the middle of filming.
So it, there was lots of things that we wanted to do, but do we want to have the media outlet? Yes, we do. You know what I mean? We want you guys to be right there to not only get with the perspective from whatever celebrity what it would be,
that guy.
whatever information, or the PR person from that company, so that way you guys have the opportunity to give that information out. You know what I mean? We're in a social media world, so in that social media, I mean it's everything to where people can grab some information. Oh, this was said in another interview, or it was said in this other interview. So we want to go ahead and give that to the media, and so we are planning that for this year.
Yeah. And like our thing is that we're fans first, and we do the media second. And sometimes, I think our perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but sometimes not all fans can make a show. And so we'd like to kind of bring that experience out to the people that can't make it, and say, hey, we did talk to so and so, and oh, that is so cool. I didn't know that about them. Right. That's kind of our perspective. It's still from the fan perspective.
That's why I exist.
That's what
You're like, we're nerd first.
That's what I run into, because there's a lot of people either can't afford to come to convention or have to work. So
or they've been to 2 or 3 already this year.
Yes.
And they're kind of tapped out.
So we want to come to people like yourself that's open to us type of media podcasters or video bloggers or whatever. Be able to take this and go back to our fans and says, here's is what you missed because you may have couldn't afford it or couldn't come because you had to work. So
and we recognize something that that's something sacred to me too, because I started off before doing stuff for DC and Warner Brothers. I started in that area. You know what I mean? And so the media rooms are where I spend most of my time. You know, so yeah, and so having something like that is very important because it's something extra to give out to the social media world. So yeah, that's something that we do care about. So.
Now, we started touching on this just a little bit in the last questions and stuff, but now, do you feel now that San Antonio is the place for cons to cover, say, like from Central to South Texas, like Dallas is taking care of the North? Is San Antonio becoming that city?
I don't want to say that we're going to be like another city. We're Alamo City, and what we do is what we do. My experience is San Diego. So if you see what San Diego does, then that's where we're heading. So I don't want to say that we're going to be like Dallas, we're going to be like Houston. I mean, those guys they have their great shows. They do what they do. You know what I mean? But me, that's my history. That's my experience. That's my knowledge. And we call it the Mecca of what we are, pop culture. Okay, so now I'm going to go and grab that. But I'm going to do my twist to it. I'm going to do things my way that, whatever suggestions I might have had, may say, well, that's 3-4 years down the road. Well, now that I can do it, I'm going to do it. So there's, things like that we'll probably announce, pretty soon of one way that if you can't make it to Alamo City, you'll still be able to see it. So there'll be a way for you to experience Alamo City. And that's just the way the culture is going, So yeah, we understand that. So there's things that I won't compare us to another city. All I can say is that during the time of Alamo City, during that period, there'll be information coming out, and we'll just have our own thing to it. So.
And it's not so much to the comparison to the city, but I mean, let's face it, we got fans in Brownsville, we got fans in Laredo, Eagle Pass, Corpus, all those areas, and they can't always make a 7-8 hour journey to one con.
So they'd rather drive 6 to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Fly, but
Yeah.
We recommend them to drive to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Out in Texas, you don't understand that joke.
Well, we would never
6
intentionally
hours.
kind of squeeze people out of this market, but to Apple's point, we're going to keep doing what we do, and we're going to try to bring the fan and provide the fan, to your point, for some people that can't make that 7-hour trip. And we, to take that ideology and with the San Diego Comic Con philosophy, if we just so happen to be the con for the South Central area, so be it. We're humble about it, but we will never intentionally try to squeeze people out of the market.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, the thing that I know and I feel is that the creators have kind of been pushed aside or pushed back. They will never ever be put in that kind of spot in Alamo City. They're going to be front and forward. So that way, when you walk through Comic-Con, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see artists, you're going to see creators, and those are going to be the first things that you see that come when you come through the doors of Alamo City. So I'll never lose that focus. So.
I have kind of a two-part question. How do you
No, really?
how do you measure a successful event? And the second question, what do you consider to be a successful comic convention?
Okay. Did you have fun?
I had a blast.
You had fun?
I see people with smiles.
Did you have fun?
Oh, yeah.
You had
I
fun?
enjoyed it.
You had fun?
I'd wait.
I see that was a I see that was a successful show. But yeah, I think that if you whatever show you should go to, yeah, if you go there and you had fun, then it's successful. If you left there and you spent $250 and you're like 3 seconds and that was it, you know what I mean? Did you have fun? Yeah. So that's the thing about this. We had fun. Everybody had fun. I know the 15,000 people that couldn't get on a Saturday didn't quite have as much fun. But to see that many, but they had some fun.
July.
Yeah, exactly. So so on Sunday they had fun, you know. So
See video of the line, they were having fun.
yeah. So
Costumes and everything.
so how you measure a con? They had fun. Was it successful? The vendors, exhibitors, but most of all the artists, all had a blast.
That's how we.
So
Well, plus
that's
we're talking about next year's, it's
Yeah,
only a month
so-
and a half from the last one we had.
right.
So we're 9-10 months out from the next one, and we're already looking forward to it.
Exactly, and I think I've seen first-time cons where some were successful, and then some of them where they already had to go to court and file bankruptcy because they didn't make the money that they thought
yeah,
they'd make.
and that's
Yeah.
the thing too is we didn't do success off of dollar signs
Right.
because I mean, perfect example. Say we came and we made all this money, and then next year we flop. Well, so much for our success.
Yeah.
Our success is when people were waiting for next year's dates and waiting for next year's who's going to come. That's the success. When you already know that we have almost 11,000 Facebook followers, we have over
14,000.
14,000. I've been on. I deserved a vacation.
He got a vacation.
I got a vacation. I haven't seen it lately. I was on vacation. But when you see that many people wanting to come back and realizing what we did, that's a success. If we said, oh, we had a lot of people, it was great, and next year everybody's like, we're not coming to your con, that's not a success. Oh yeah, we had a lot of people, that's not a success. Seeing vendors tell us, man, we did great, and artists tell Apple, man, we loved it, we love to come back. Hearing celebrities tell myself and Apple, like, I mean, this is the number one thing that meant the most to myself, personally, is hearing people tell me, I cannot believe this is a first year con. I heard that from media, I heard that from celebrities, I heard that from fans, from agents.
I was just walking the crowd and I heard that.
Yeah, and that right there to myself is what made it a success, which says all these endless nights and long weeks and 7 days a week and no vacations and
Let's break down a little bit more. Just a first day.
Yeah,
Friday.
on a Friday when everybody's supposed to be at work or school,
Yeah.
and we're already looking
I
at
wish
almost
my
getting
dad
shut
would.
down. I was like, oh my god.
I wish my dad would let me be at a comic convention. Well, actually, something small. I don't know if people knew this. We actually had schools
schools.
field trips
Field
at
trips
the
came in.
convention on Friday.
Even like
That-
even Girl Scouts.
Yeah, we had
Girl Scouts
and Boy Scouts.
They didn't bring no cookies. I want Thin Mints. I want the butter, the peanut butter. Yes.
So just
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little thank you.
Just put yourself in my situation. I was there Thursday night, setting up 100,000 square feet. It went from an empty warehouse space, convention space, to where the pipe and drapes are set up, to the carpeting, and next thing you know, fire marshal is shutting you down.
Yeah, you're like, you worked so hard to put it
it's
up, and
not-
you're like, what?
Yeah, and for the people who weren't there,
Right.
if you walk into Hall A when it's empty, you can't throw a football to the other side.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And when I have vendors asking us for dates, asking us for advance payments, asking us to, hey, how can we sign up? In which all the vendors will get first dibs.
They're coming. Contracts are coming.
It's and the thing is that they're not about making money, but they have fun. At it. They get to actually walk around and do what they want to do. Not worry about having to, I need to make my money back.
Yeah.
And to make this experience worthwhile.
Yeah.
And small things like the celebrities, cosplayers that we
Yeah.
follow on Facebook, seeing them post a month after, still talking about the great time they had. I mean,
As being a fan and part of fan groups, and now in the media, me and you've been in this business. I've been doing this for 23 years. I think this was the best first year opening that I've ever seen at cons. I've been to cons all over the U.S. and it's like I've never any of the issues that came up. I sat back and watched you guys, and as soon as the fire came up, that fire was shut down within minutes. And
No, we didn't actually have a fire.
That was not a fire.
Is that wrong?
Yeah. No,
There was no fire.
only the roof.
and the fire marshal.
I'm a dork.
Oh, hell, we went that on fire, I'm not going on there.
No, but that's
Yeah,
the
they put the
success.
fires out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was at the end of the day, at the end of the 3 days, it was just like, I can't believe what we just did. You know, we planned it, and we'll say, yeah, we aimed high, and when
we knew all those people.
yeah,
were
we
gonna
knew
come. All of them.
35,000 people. You know, but it's the success that we did that, like you said, if some people go bankrupt, and we feel bad for that, and we were like,
I've seen people put their house up for mortgage. I've seen all kinds of stuff.
We
And
don't
you
know
guys
anyone.
knocked it out, and it was good as being a fan in media and how we may interact personally. But when we're at the con, you still took the time to say hello, thank you to me or somebody else.
Yeah.
You were personal. Like, customer services, even though you may have a decent product or a substandard, if you still provide 300% customer service, I'll still come back. And I'm still here. Shut up, take my money.
we have a very good PR team.
Right.
We have a very good PR team. But no, but in all honesty, I mean, that's the thing, because if we would have walked away and people would have hated us, we would have just like hung our heads, and we didn't. And you know, like Apple always says, we stay humble. We don't ever think we're bigger and better than anybody else. We just do us, and we you know, we you know, that's the thing, is we all did it. I mean, we have a staff that Apple put together, and the gentleman who's not here, Vic, put together, and we just made this team, and we did it together. I mean, this guy slept on the floor at the convention center the night before, the day of, you know, and walking downstairs from the hotel we were at and seeing 2,000 people outside on Friday, it's like,
Yeah.
that was a shock. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't
Yeah.
expect 2,000 people on Friday morning,
Yeah.
and hearing guests say, wow, I got here at Friday morning at 11 o'clock and there's a line
Yeah.
at my table, and you're just like,
Yeah, I mean,
So-
we're walking in the media check-in, and it was like,
Yeah.
Are you here for the meat
And-
chicken too, or?
and, you know, and
Yeah,
we're just
the line's
walking
back that
around.
way.
Yeah, we're walking around, and there's a line. I mean, going down to well, not in the street, but
Yeah.
you know, circling the convention center, and we was like, really?
This is how
And you,
we're 20-hour days for 2 weeks leading up to the con, and then driving to the con, and you see that line, and you're half asleep, but then you're like, what in the world's going? That's a wake up.
so I'll give you my perspective. I stepped on the carpet that night, and we're setting up everything, and I did like Ken's called me and they wanted to do an interview at 5 o'clock in the morning. They were like, okay, you want us to go to the hotel? And I was like, I'm already at the convention center. I've been here. They're like, okay, so we'll go that way. So they came over, and the guy who's got the stuff out the van, and he goes, man, you see the little line? And I was like, what? And I go over there and I look, it's dark, and I see people already waiting. And I was just like, oh man. I was like, it's Friday, they're waiting. So the guy's ready to go, and I was like, well, hold on, I gotta go take care of him. So I go out there, and I asked them, I said, do y'all have tickets? And they're like, no, we're just waiting to buy general admission. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, well, you know, thanks for coming and thanks for supporting. I go back inside and I do the interview, and the guy from Ken's like, man, you know, that's really nice what you did. And I said, I just want to make sure they're okay. Like, they didn't already buy their tickets, because there's another line on the other side. So that, you know, that's something that I saw that morning. So while we were setting up and doing it, and I kept looking out there, I kept poking my head out through the door, and you know, through the doors of Hall A, you see them wrap around, and all of a sudden I'm starting to see that line going like this, and I'm like, I said, I need to get somebody out there and make sure that they know that's general admission, because the tickets are on the other side. So they come back, go in there, and people say, yeah, we have our VIPs. They go walk to the other side, and a little while later I see another whole crowd coming. So they must have told them, no, this is just VIPs. Y'all need to go to general admission over there. So I was just like, okay, this thing's going to be huge on Friday.
So now you see that, and so there's going to be better signage.
Yeah,
and better.
Yeah, we're going to do better awareness to get your tickets online beforehand, because it makes it so much easier when you can just give us a paper, boom, we're going. You know what I mean? We already identify you. You know what I mean?
Even at that, with the amount of volunteers, the amount of staff we have,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much one of those that we took on the chin, that we did not expect what we got, and and at the end of the day, it was better to over succeed it than to drop the ball.
Right.
To drop the ball, and we heard the criticism on the lines and things like that, and the only thing at the end of the day we can say was we had a very successful show, and we had a staff meeting after. I mean, we didn't take a vacation
Like a
for
day,
2.
like-
Yeah.
We had a staff meeting on what we're going to do for next year to fix all. I mean, first year problems are going to come up, hiccups,
Yeah.
the smallest things that you don't want to talk about that happen, but that's the stuff that'll drive you up the wall. But things like this, that we made sure everything gets fixed. I mean, we have a great staff, and things like that is something that next year we won't have certain issues, but we are thankful for everyone that came out.
Yeah.
And next year,
Because now we know how to address them.
yeah, we know how to address it, and it's just one of those hiccups that happen where when we were doing this 8 months ago, we didn't think we're gonna have 15,000 people waiting outside in a line. I mean, if you told us that, I mean, we would have said, oh yeah,
Yeah, we knew.
we knew 15,000 people were gonna, you know.
You want to buy a lottery ticket? I got the numbers.
Yeah,
So we actually had to thank the veteran cons that's been doing this for years, and as a first year con, we learned through their mistakes. And granted, we can't prevent them all, but you know, mistakes will come up. Sparks, not fires, will happen. It's having the appropriate resources to kind of resolve it. And so that's what we'll promise our fans and all the audience and the followers that. You know, whether you're from San Antonio, from afar, we're gonna try to get you in the door and enjoy it just like everybody else.
Clement, we're talking about your staff. I know you probably can't name all your volunteers, because you
Yeah.
probably have 200 volunteers or something.
Everyone in the yellow shirt.
But who's on your staff?
We have Fred, Izzy, Vic, Roger, Julia, Sean, Garrett, Wolf, Alex was on there.
Michael and Chan.
Yeah, we have Michael Chan. Lofton helped out. My boy Train.
right?
Paul and his wife. Sarah, who was the one for cancer this year. She joined staff. So we have many more staff that are coming, even Vanessa over here. She'll be staffed soon. So we're just growing, you know. And the thing is that no one got paid. You know, a lot of it like, hey, you know, it was highly successful. It was like, you know what, you must have not known how to do a show. If you know how to do a show, you know how expensive Alamo City was. So, you know.
I don't want to know.
It's a dream number. It's a dream number.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
Yeah, you really don't want to know. But at the end of the day, it was successful enough to say, guess what? We're coming in 2014.
Yeah.
You know
our
what I mean?
staff, Our staff did
Yeah,
an
it's
amazing job.
the staff did it out of love. They did it out of pure time.
Yeah, we love them.
So yeah, but I mean, it was a lot of hard work. You know, everybody broke their back through this whole year. You know what I mean? And it wasn't for my staff to be in right there to support, to have my back on things. You know, this con wouldn't have been successful if it wasn't for them. So I care for my staff, and you know.
And actually, we don't say staff. We say family.
So
we
say staff because you said staff.
Yeah,
But it's like
but
our family.
we never call it.
Y'all been saying staff all day.
It's because sometimes I forget when we're doing out here.
So that's what we do. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
It's because we do. We're all friends. You
Yeah.
know, it's not, hey, now you're hired and we'll see you on Monday. You know, it's we do. We hang.
Let me see your application. You know?
Yeah. I mean, we've all worked in a company where we work with coworkers, and you know how that goes. And with us, I mean, we're buddies. Like we hang out. That's what we do. And with that staff that we have, I mean, it's just we click, and everybody gets everybody, and everybody has a specific job that he and Vic, who's not here, put together. That
Vic's on vacation.
Yeah, Vic's on vacation.
I'll be next week.
Yeah, that everybody had a specific job, but he broke it down as an Izzy and Garrett and Vic and Paul, and everybody that he put had a specific job, and it made sense. You know, we didn't go in blind and say, hey, Izzy, you're going to go ahead and take care of the floor plan.
Hey, you go do this.
Yeah, you know, you go ahead and do that. No, but we very specific on it myself. And with me and Apple promoting with my promoting background and his promoting background, it made sense, you know. I mean, everybody, our staff just made sense.
Yeah.
But
And this year we get to do what we want to do.
yeah, so
Well, gentlemen, we'd like to thank you for joining us and stuff. We really appreciate you taking the time out here. And not just really just talking to us, talking to the fans, talking to the people out there, our listeners, our viewers and stuff, and letting them know from you directly and stuff that, you know, Alamo City Comic Con is here. It's here to stay. It's going to get bigger and better every year, and we can't wait for 2014 to see what you have for us in store, and we hope you keep us in mind and let us know, and we can help get the word out there for you and stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having
we
us.
will have
Yeah,
some
thank you.
news Monday.
Yeah, we should.
So follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook,
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, you know,
Instagram, but we will have
Instagram,
some news coming up.
stalk
So
us. You can.
thank you.
That's great.
Awesome.
And for GVTV viewers, that's a wrap.